If you're a new player just coming into the Elder Scrolls Online, the sheer amount of things you can do can be a little bit overwhelming. After 10 years of ESO, there's tons of locations, systems, skills, gear, and plenty more to offer a player who's just stepping foot into the game. You may be asking yourself questions like, where should I go? What should I do? Well, my name is Doc, and after playing this game for quite some time, I figured I would share some tips that could be useful to new players and maybe even some veteran players. Tip number 1, don't be scared to pick the wrong thing. When you go to create your first character, you may be wondering what class is best, quote unquote, which race you should use, which role you should play, etc. If you already know what you're going for, then that's great. If you're unsure though, don't stress yourself out over what's meta or not meta, because class and gear metas can shift at any time. Besides, when it comes to PvE content, the balancing is honestly in a pretty decent spot right now. Outside of the absolute hardest content in the game, any class and race is completely and perfectly viable for nearly all pieces of content. I'm actually currently working on a healer of every class. Why? Because it's fun, and variety can be enjoyable. You get 10 character slots to start out just by owning the game, so don't be afraid to use them and figure out what you like. You can always make new characters and delete old ones if you so choose, so don't be afraid to pick the wrong thing because there is no wrong thing. Tip number 2, take your time. Playing ESO is a marathon, not a sprint. One of the most important things I tell new players is not to burn yourself out. Don't worry about hitting level 50 as fast as possible. Don't worry about farming gear yet. Don't worry about trying to speedrun every single skill line, because you have plenty of time to do all those things. And sometimes, it's actually more beneficial for you in the long run to spread out your grind across several days or even weeks, instead of trying to grind everything out as fast as possible. If you try to max out your character as soon as possible, you're gonna burn yourself out and you won't want to play the game anymore. Of course, I'm not saying you need to move at a snail's pace. If you want to be efficient, then please, by all means, that's awesome. All I'm saying is to move through this game at a pace that's comfortable for you. Don't feel like you need to rush. Tip number 3, get yourself some skill points. Above gold, above crafting mats, above style pages, there's one resource that's more valuable than anything in the game, and that's skill points. If you want to play solo, you'll need skill points. If you want to enjoy group play, you'll need skill points. If you want to get into crafting, you'll need skill points. If you want to do pretty much anything in the game, I'll give you a guess as to what you need. Fortunately, there are enough skill points in the game that getting the majority of them can allow a single character to have most of their skill lines pretty much maxed out. So how do we get skill points? Well, the first is by completing zone quests. As you progress through the main story of each zone, they'll occasionally reward you with skill points. Next is sky shards, these glowing, pretty crystals that you see scattered throughout the world. Harvesting 3 of these will reward you with a skill point. Next is dungeons. Public dungeons will have a special event boss that will give you a skill point, and group dungeon quests will all reward you with a skill point. Outside of that, you can also get skill point from leveling your PvP rank. There's also some others here and there, but those are where the bulk of your skill points are going to come from. Tip number 4, start your mount training. If you've already started your ESO journey, then chances are you have a mount. You may have also gone, geez, I could probably walk there faster than this thing. And that's because you gotta do your mount training. If you head to a stable and talk to a stable master, they'll show you 3 different ways you can upgrade your mount for gold. You can upgrade its speed, stamina, and your inventory capacity. Now personally, I'd recommend going with speed first, and then you can kind of decide which of the other 2 is more important. I tend to go with inventory capacity, but stamina is perfectly viable too. Keep in mind that this is a once per day cooldown, so it's going to take you 180 days to fully upgrade your mount. I know it sounds like a long time, but it is worth it in the end, and the time will go by, it only takes a couple minutes just to run over and grab your mount training. Tip number 5, get the continuous attack passive. Speaking of mount speed, the continuous attack passive will give you a huge bonus to your mount speed, and the process I do only takes me about 15 minutes to get it with a fresh character. Basically, the continuous attack passive is the first passive skill found in the assault skill line, which is one of the 2 PvP skill lines. That passive will permanently give you Major Gallop, which increases your mount speed by 30%. That sounds great, but how exactly do we get it? Well, once you hit level 10, head into your menu and find the Alliance War tab. From there, head into Cyrodiil for the first time and complete the introduction quest. After that, from the same menu, head into the Imperial City and complete that introduction quest as well. After that, you'll head out of the Imperial City, find the Party tab in your menu, and queue up for a Battlegrounds match. Whether you win or lose, all of these things combined should get you to Assault level 3, which means that all you have to do now is use a single skill point to purchase the passive, and now you have a much faster mount, even if you haven't done a single bit of mount training yet. Number 6, start researching. An important aspect of your loadout in ESO will be the traits of your weapons and armor. One really cool thing about ESO is that you can actually research these traits at a crafting station. When using the crafting station, pop on over to the research tab and you'll see exactly what traits you do and don't know for individual items. Keep in mind that when you begin researching an item, that item will be destroyed, but in return, you'll learn the trait after a period of time. That research timer will start off low at just a few hours, but it will quickly become longer and longer as you research more things. Now you may be thinking, okay, but I don't really care about crafting, Doc, and that's okay. Researching traits can still benefit you. You see, in the Clockwork City, you can find a transmute station. What this will do is allow you to change the traits of an item you currently have in your inventory to another trait by using some transmute stones. You can only pick traits that you have researched though, so even if you have zero interest in crafting, having traits researched will be really helpful for you when you begin to start farming gear. Tip number 7, deconstruct everything that you don't need. After playing for a little while, you're eventually going to have to do some inventory management. It may be tempting just to sell those items to a merchant for some extra gold, however, I would urge you to deconstruct them instead. From deconning items, you'll get all sorts of different crafting materials, and some of those materials can actually be worth more than the item you just deconstructed. Plus, with enough materials, you can do things like upgrading your weapons and armor. On top of all of that, you'll also be upgrading your crafting skill lines every time you deconstruct an item. Putting some skill points into these can make your deconstructing yield even more valuable materials. Whether it's upgrades, writs, or making gold, deconstructing can be super beneficial for you. Number 8, don't forget to grab a Mundus Stone. Similar to the standing stones in Skyrim, Mundus stones are passive, permanent bonuses at the push of a button. You can find them scattered throughout the base game zones and Cyrodiil. While you can only have one active at a time, these bonuses can be huge for new players. There are stones that can improve your weapon and spell damage, your defenses, your healing, and much more. If you're looking for one in particular, there are plenty of guides online or here on YouTube that can show you exactly where each stone is and what exactly they give you. There's no downsides to having one, so please go grab yourself a Mundus Stone. Number 9, consider joining a guild. Joining a guild was genuinely one of the best decisions that I've made in ESO. The first reason many people will choose to join a guild is for guild traders. Guild traders are how players can buy and sell items on the marketplace to and from other players. Being part of a guild that has a guild trader means that you can sell your own items on that guild trader. Even if you're more of a solo kind of player, you can always join a trading guild so you can at least benefit from having the trader. You'll generally get much more gold from selling something at a guild trader than if you just sold it to a normal merchant. Another reason that I recommend finding a guild is that a lot of guilds have members who are willing to teach group content to other players. My guild has scheduled teaching runs of trials every week, and I know a lot of guilds practice something similar. The last reason you may want to join a guild is for the social aspect of the game. Whether it's dungeons, trials, or PvP, it's almost always more enjoyable with friends. I've met a lot of really wonderful people in the ESO community, and joining a guild will help you encounter more of those people. Sure, not every guild will always be super active, and some guilds may not be the right place for you. But just keep looking until you find the right guild, because it's honestly 110% worth it in my opinion. And number 10, have fun. This is the most important tip I can share on this list. Just have fun. At the end of the day, whether you're a solo casual quester or a score-pushing trifecta lord, this is a game, and games should be fun. If you're not having fun, consider doing something else within the game. Play a different game, or just take a break from gaming altogether to do something else. ESO will still be here, and that thing you need to do will still be there when you get back. If you're having fun and you're enjoying the game, then you're doing exactly what you should be doing. Always remember that time spent enjoying something is never wasted. And I think that was all the tips we had for today. Of course, there are plenty other pieces of advice that you could give to a new player, but I think we pretty much covered all the basics. As always, I hope you found the video helpful, whether you're a new player or a returning one. Feel free to drop your own tips for newbies in the comments below, and if you want to see more videos about ESO, healing, or both of those things, then make sure to subscribe. Also, don't forget to click the link in the description to follow me on stuff so you don't miss a video or a live stream. I'm also incredibly proud to say that at the time of writing this, we just recently passed the 750 subscriber mark. And at the time of recording, we're almost to 800. I just had the 500 video fairly recently, so I think I'm gonna wait until we hit 1,000 for the next milestone video. I know I've said it before, but I'll keep saying it because it continues to be true. I am incredibly thankful for all the continued support you guys have shown me, and more importantly, I'm glad that I make content that you guys enjoy watching. And I'm gonna continue to make my videos even better for you guys. And finally, I think all I've got left to say is that I've been Doc. Take care of yourselves, be good to others, don't forget to give yourself some time to rest. And I will catch y'all in the next one.